Hello, everyone, and welcome into the Hill Brothers Wrestling. Nathan and Alan here. We are your Hill Brothers. And as it would seem, every Friday, and once again this Friday, Smackdown came to us live from Chicago, Illinois. Alan, what'd you think about this episode? Just in the quick synopsis, did you like it? Was it a good episode? 3 hours of Smackdown is a lot of Smackdown, I have found out.
Well, 3 hours of SmackDown, and if you break it down, there wasn't a lot of SmackDown.
No,
There was a
there
lot of
was this.
Smack talk.
Yeah, there was a lot of talk in this one. I mean, the 3
Hey, but
hours of SmackDown, and the best thing about the whole thing was the interviews.
we're
Gotta
not
love it.
supposed to be here.
Yeah, we're not supposed to be here. It's all for the fans. I'm not gonna lie, it did include the best 6 minutes of television I have ever seen in my life. I cannot wait to get to that part of the show. Oh my god. But what do you say we kick it off with, first off, the recap of the contract signing that we had last Friday with Punk and Roman? You had a nice little vignette here with Punk, Roman, and Rollins where they get the contract signed. Rollins is all pissy because Paul Heyman looks at Punk and says, "Hey, you're gonna be a main eventer," and gives him a big old fat kiss on the forehead there. They've been friends for so long. Roman Reigns is like, "Oh, check the boxes, your tribal chief," and CM Punk comes out and tells him, "Hey, that's not the favor that I'm owed. It's all about the favors. I need to ask you of a favor."
What's the favorite?
And we'll get there. I'm gonna get there. I'm gonna save my favor to the end of the show, just like CM Punk did.
Okay.
But wouldn't you know who won the pony? They introduced SmackDown and Chicago. The crowd is wild. You know, they've been overseas over the last, it feels like 2 months, with the crowds that don't stop singing and dancing and hooplying and partying in the crowd. That they always go wild over there and overseas. And tonight was no different with CM Punk coming out as he did here. As the show opened, out come the hometown hero, the Second City Saints, CM Punk, and the big entrance and the hugs and the kisses and the handshakes and the hugging the babies and kissing the wives and yeah, and the whole ordeal. It takes a few minutes and they comes down to the ring. And the place just loves him. It's been a long time since he had been in Chicago. I forget the last time they had been out there. But Punk comes out. He takes it in, milks the entire entrance, and the place continues to go bad. I put here, place goes nuts. And I kind of figured that it would, considering it is his hometown. The place loves him, and he's over like crazy. Who's the big deal? What's going on? What's this favor? I didn't know until the beginning of the show, or until right before the show, that on Twitter, on WWE's Twitter, that Punk, Rollins, and Reigns were all going to be back in the ring again this week. But I was actually looking forward to that. I was looking forward to seeing what they were going to do, but I didn't know that they were going to take this angle here. That's the part I liked about all this. Because I've been kind of wondering, like, what is this favor deal? Like, what is the legitimate thing? There's been rumors. I mean, you've talked off air what it could be. But Alan, business is about to pick up because CM Punk gets the mic and he says, "I thought the best crowds were overseas, but I knew we were coming to Chicago." Oh, he's milking the fans, and they start doing the deal, and they start chanting, and he grabs the daggum camera and says, "What was the camera's man's name? Daggum, I forget his name. What was his name?"
Steve. Let's go, Steve.
Sure, they've got Stu. I think it was something with an R. I don't remember. I can't remember, but he grabs the camera. And he starts putting over the hometown, has a good time, looks, and Wade Barrett's on commentary, like, "That camera's $10,000. I thought it was fun. And he's just waving the camera around. And when he finally hands it back, I think it wasn't Wade, it was the other fella on commentary. He comes out and he says, "Oh, hey, our director's cringing a lot, but Punk Cam, isn't it great? Don't you love it?" So Punk Cam takes over Chicago and SmackDown for a few seconds. And he says, "I'm not supposed to be in the main event, but I've earned it. I'm not supposed to be here. When I came to WWE, I was told I wasn't supposed to be here. When I was hanging on the side of Cena's gangster car back at, I think that was WrestleMania 22, if I remember correctly. It's the best it's ever going to get for you, kid. You're not supposed to be here. I'm not supposed to be here, but I've earned it." What'd you think about the big "I've earned it" speech from CM Punk there?
I'm not supposed to be here. I had the umbilical cord wrapped around my neck and my face
Oh,
was
yes,
blue.
we forgot about
Don't
the
forget that one.
coming out blue.
He was dead, so he wasn't supposed to be here. Now I don't know. I mean, it was a decent promo. I just after about the 100th, I'm not supposed to be here. I was like, so why are we here?
Well, I think we were here to buy some time for Paul Heyman to finally come out, and that's about the time. It's it's a big old good old rile 'em up speech. I'm not supposed to be here. It's my redemption arc. This, that, and the other deal. They're going for the, hey, I've worked hard and I've done my thing, and he's over, and he can do this for as long as he flipping wants to. He could still be sitting there saying, "I'm not supposed to be here," and they would still be chanting his name and singing, and which they did end up doing the Roman Reigns later on in the show. So that made its way from overseas over to
Yeah, I saw. I heard.
the
I was so excited to hear some more foreign singing.
yeah, it does kind of interrupt the promos and everything. That gets on my nerves a little bit. That just a smidge that they I mean, it's cool to do after every once in a while, but it gets annoying after time where they're just constantly
I think I spent
singing.
most of the first 5 minutes annoyed.
Yeah. Watch me blow my nose. Watch me blow my nose. It's allergy season, as you can tell.
It is.
But about that time, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and he was late to the show. No disrespect to Chicago and the airport system over there. They have beautiful airlines and amazing airports there.
Streets.
Yeah, their streets are amazing, and everything's just peachy in Chicago. But he gets in the ring and he starts putting over CM Punk as well. And about that time, you hear it. ECW, 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 ECW. The big ECW chants. The history between Paul Heyman and CM Punk goes back decades now at this point in time, or well over a decade at least. No decades. It's 2025. They're getting old out there. But he says, "Hey, Paul, you can't escape this one. You're out here." And Heyman's coming out and he's putting him over. He's my best friend. He's awesome. You deserve to be here. Kind of recapping a little bit of what Punk was saying, but from the outside.
Yeah.
And then he gets real close to CM Punk, nestled up to his bosom, and he says, "Oh," and I put here, Heyman sounds like he has some phlegm in his throat.
Kind of like me this morning.
As I'm putting on display here. No, every time he breathed, it was he went. It's like there was like a flap of phlegm just in
Like
the
a bicycle cart and
yeah.
a playing cart and a bicycle spoke.
Yes, it was. Oh, it was good stuff. But Heyman gets up there and he comes up to Punk and he says, "You did a favor for my tribal chief, and I thank you. You saved the family. You saved my tribal chief. I love my tribal chief. I baked cookies and made milk for my tribal chief, and I I really start to worry about Heyman and this tribal chief relationship. I don't know how deep this thing goes, but I feel like Heyman has a little bit of obsession with Sir Tribal Chief.
He
Anyway,
might be he might be the Sir Tribal Chief's personal
yeah,
duvet,
I
whatever.
mean, yeah, I do you think he uses I'm not going to ask that question. But he gets up close and he says, I
Protest.
CM Punk, I have one more favor to ask. And Punk's like, okay, we got favors. Well, I guess we're just racking them up here. What's up? He says, could you tell me what the
What
favor
the
is that I owe
favor
you?
is? He's a
Like, well, I, now when that happened, I'm not gonna lie, I enjoyed that because I didn't know. Again, when the favor business went down all that time ago at War Games for Punk to help out Roman and the crew, I thought it was with the favor coming in, we always wondered if it was ever going to be expounded upon. Well, now that it has, I like that after last week, even Heyman's like, okay, what is this thing? What the heck did I agree to all the way back then? Which I don't know if they knew that they were going to be doing this right here back
No,
during
probably
War
not.
Games.
If they did, kudos to them. Clap,
Yeah,
slow clap.
yeah, but they did a good job here, and I think they have done a fairly decent job of holding this thing out. We got so much. Normally Mania is like this weekend
Yep.
every year.
Now we got 2 more weekends to wait.
Yeah, for the first time in I think forever. This is the first time they've ever done Mania this far apart from Elimination Chamber or any of the pay-per-views before Mania. And I have to say with this program holding out this favor, now we got to see what happens. See, now we can get another week of just milking the reaction of the favor because we didn't really get a reaction or get an answer or get a consternation between Roman and Punk thoroughly. They can do that, but that's later on in the show. But Heyman asked him, "Hey, what's the favor that I owe you?" And Punk comes up. He says, "You know what? Plug for later. I won't tell you until the big chief shows up, and I'll tell both of you guys to your faces in this ring when the chief shows up." So there's the plug. Stay through 3 hours and figure out when in
Yeah,
doubt the big chief
mom's going to
is
sleep.
going to roll up. What'd you think here out of this? He just gets out and just says peace out.
Well, I don't know. Was the traffic so bad that Roman was late?
Yeah.
Like legitimately late? Or
Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know who
was
won
this
the
just like the
pony?
producers like just wasting time to fill a 3-hour time slot?
This is 100% them wasting time to fill a 3 hour time slot. 100%. That
Jesus.
it's a good way to.
Can I mean
Wouldn't you know?
can we just like cut it down somehow? Or
Yeah, I
like
think the contract
more
is what you.
wrestling and less talking?
I
I mean, I
think the problem
understand
that
you
we
got
have here. Go
we
ahead.
need promos and we need all the gossip and the all that mess. But Jesus, I really just like fighting and not talking, or at least let the talking lead to fighting.
Well, who would be to ask to have more wrestling on our wrestling program? That is the big question that we have here.
That is a good question.
But no, it was
I tuned in for the talking on a wrestling program.
yeah,
Should have
and
went and watched The View.
a lot of times it's the daggum talking that gets the most over with the crowd. there were and kind of point proven when it came to our next match with Tama Tonga and then the Ray Phoenix match. I did not care to watch the Ray Phoenix match. And then never mind. We'll get to it in a minute. Yeah, I don't know how well this is going to work with them. But sure enough, next up, LA Knight and Tama Tonga. And right before then, Braun Strowman, who's going to end up having a last man standing match with Jacob Fatu later on, finds the Bloodline, Solo and Tama in the back, and they have a short interaction. You got to go through the werewolf, Jacob Fatu, and I'm not gonna lie, I just don't believe Solo in this role of secondary tribal chief. I don't find him believable. He seems like he's just second guessing himself all the time, and he's just trying to force it. Sometimes he comes through all right, but for the most part, he's just kind of forcing this entire deal. But LA Knight walks up and Tama yeahs a little while. And then LA Knight hits the ring and out come Tama Tonga. And they had just a few minute match where LA Knight got the win and got excited. That's about all I care about.
Solo stuck his nose where it didn't belong and tried to distract LA Knight and got taken out. And then he turns around and takes his boy out. And then the bell's ringing and Solo's trying to avenge his fallen friend. And Knight he just squirts out from under the bottom rope and walks up the ramp and says, "See ya."
Yeah. And that was that. I like
See, that match could be longer if the first promo was shorter. We could have had more action.
Don't you love network television? Don't you just love it? But hey, I actually forgot Ray Phoenix and his match against NXT Tag Team Champion. My name, Nathan Frazier.
Did you? Are we getting into this?
Yeah, go ahead. Because
did you see where the Frazier guy just about died? You didn't watch it.
I've seen the highlights, and Ray Phoenix is a garbage flippy-do wrestler that does a lot of moves that could get people hurt. And Ray Phoenix comes from AEW as of late, and I like wrestling.
A lot of
I don't care
Libres.
Yeah, I like wrestling, and I don't care for the acrobats. I'm not watching the fair or the circus. I'm not watching. I can't. I've never been able to, and this guy does it a little too much. And I'll be curious to see what happens here with Sir Ray. You got to think him and Penta will get linked back up at some point in time.
They're brothers.
Yeah, they are brothers, and if I had to pick one of them, I would definitely pick Mr. Penta there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't get much out of this. And then he cut a promo that I didn't understand.
Yeah, I didn't understand the end when he was talking. But during the match, like Phoenix was outside the ring and Frazier tried one of them suicide dives.
Yeah.
And he went in between the top and the middle turnbuckle. And I'm pretty sure homie just about killed himself. Because when he went through, it looked like somewhere along the way, the padding on his shins caught the middle rope. And instead of flying through, he went straight down. Luckily, Phoenix was there to help him rise from the ashes and catch his dumb tail. But Jesus Christ, kid, if you're going to go through the middle of the ropes, at least get your big old club toes out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, now you got so many masked characters now. I mean, you got Penta, and of course, you got the iconic Ray Rey Mysterio, and then you got Rey Phoenix, then you got the Dragon guy.
The
It's just
Ilyanov dude.
it's just another line of a maskless hero. Oh, and don't forget the new Americano whatever that they're
Oh yeah.
introducing over on Raw.
I have there's a thought that may very well be Chad Gable doing a bit that was done like 20 years ago by Kurt Angle, 20, 30 years ago by Kurt Angle.
Oh, you
That
don't
will
say.
end.
It's
That will
not.
end soon enough.
So the Americano's not Chad Gable.
That's what. Yeah, that's who they're. That's
No, that's
who the. Yeah.
that's exactly who it is. His Chad
Yeah.
Gable.
And then hopefully that will be put to bed fairly soon. But hey, we're back to
That's
the
all.
promos. We're back
But
to the
that's all I
interviews.
wrote down. Nathan
Yeah,
Frazier about dies.
and see, I know you want to get the talent from AEW to come over and just put it and smear it in their face and say F you to those guys. But the reason that show ain't working out too well over there is because of some of these guys. We gotta put that into perspective here. And I know they're getting produced well. It's the big show and everything, but don't turn your television down to people like that. I just can't get with it. For those that do, good for you. That's all I got on that one. But hey, Paul Heyman's in the back, and Paul Heyman's over there at the entrance ramp, and he's having a tizzy fit. And Saxton goes over there and interviews him, and he he goes over there. And he starts asking, "Hey, when's the tribal chief going to be here? And what's this deal? And do you remember what you did?" And he says, you can see, I love Paul. Paul does such a great job, just exacerbating his delivery on everything. And he looks at Saxon. He says, I don't know why I'm talking to you." He grabs the camera. "Punk, listen, whatever it is, whatever I promised you, the answer is yes." And here comes at about that time, here comes a Chevy Tahoe over the top of the deal coming down to the entranceway. "My tribal chief, you've come home. You're here. You're here to answer everything."
As soon as I
And
saw
out
the shoes, as soon as I saw the shoes peek out from the door, I was like, "That's not Roman."
and out pumps daggum Seth Rollins, who goes, "Ha ha," who was wearing he was doing his best impression from who's the daggum uh guy out of Bless. What's the name of them? Is it the Austin Powers movie?
Yeah, you could
All
go Austin
gray,
Powers with
bald.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could go Austin
Oh,
Powers.
he was doing his best Austin Powers impression. He comes out, he's excited. Evidently, he comes up, gives big old Paul a hug. He says, "Oh, you were waiting for the other Shield guy. Ah, my bad." And he could see the just the pure annoyance that of Paul, who doesn't know what in the world this kind of situation he's got himself in. He can't figure it out. His tribal chief is going to be angry. And Seth puts his arm around and is like, "Look, I don't know what the favor is. I'm kind of curious myself. And I know what affects you, but it'll kind of affect me too. And I just want to, I just want to take a gander at what's going to happen here. And I want to watch what Punk has to say with you guys too. I've taken the week off. I feel better. I've gotten my hair and nails done. I did the spa. I'm so much more happier this week. And I'm gonna see you guys down in the ring later."
He was really upset.
He was so
Had to
mad.
take a whole week off because CM Punk made the main event.
Yeah, and you can tell these guys freaking can't stand each other. But they're working together, and we know that the issues between the two have been brewing for years now, off camera, while Punk was in AEW, Rollins being here. But I think Rollins had a little bit of fun tonight. I honestly, I think he ended up having himself a good amount of fun here. But they didn't have nowhere near as amount of fun as I did in this next segment. This was the greatest 6 to 8 minutes of television right here. Charlotte Flair comes to the ring, and it's gonna be a face-off now between Charlotte Flair and Tiffany Stratton. Quick thoughts on the thing before we start breaking this thing down. I loved it. I loved every second of what happened here.
My first thoughts, my very first thoughts, and this happened as soon as Tiffany walked into the arena. Why do they always dress alike?
They did. They they dressed the same. They had the same kind of like like see-through-ish type pants
Lacy
on.
pant
Yeah,
drape
lacy
looking
pants with
like
the
you would see at
thing.
a Hobby Lobby curtain making station,
It was so good. It was so good.
and
Oh my god.
and then and then it was downhill from there.
And Charlotte Flair, I tell you, I don't know how much
Chicago
more
doesn't like Charlotte Flair. Jesus,
I don't
Pete,
know how
they're
much
still
more
booing.
stiff. I don't know how much more stiff this woman can get. That amount of plastic surgery. And I'm not even trying to be mean. I'm just telling it like it is. I worry about her. She can't move her face. She can't do it.
She's got
I
to like quit getting injections like 30 minutes before curtain time.
She does it. It's like an afternoon snack for her. Oh, it's 2 o'clock. It's injection time. I cannot get over how she just looks like she used to be very decent looking. I never thought
Well,
she was the
this
most drop dead gorgeous woman in the world, but she looked to be very decent, decent at least. And now she just looks like a mannequin.
this
And
is a middle-aged lady trying to keep up with looks wise and appearance wise with the younger ladies that are under contract with WWE, and appearance wise, your body tends to degrade over time. It's just
tell
how it
that to Mickey
goes.
James and Trish Stratus. I tell you, and Kelly and the Bellas. Anyway,
Oh well,
so Charlotte
anyway.
Flair hits the ring, and she gets out there, and Wade Barrett is going to be in between these two, and here we go. And I've been volunteered. I love Wade Barrett. He's a good dude. I wish he had a longer run in WWE. Fortunately, injuries. But and Tiffany hits the ring. She comes out there with the belt, showing it off, and she's the women's champion. And here we go. And Wade Barrett kind of asks, he says, Charlotte, why'd you pick Tiffany? Do you think it was still a good idea? And the crowd hadn't really interjected here yet. They waited a couple of minutes and they saw what this thing was going to be. And Charlotte Flair, she comes out and she says, "Well, I I haven't done charity in a while, and Tiff needs a moment and everything else. I chose her." And she went the route of trying to bury her. I'm not gonna lie, none of this delivered. Tiffany took advantage of the entire situation here, that was granted to her. But let me tell you something. Charlotte Flair has gotten heat with me over the years because every time she comes back, now don't get me wrong, she's good in the ring. But every time she comes back, it's a running joke that every time she comes back, she has a championship belt that's gonna be handed to her. It's just a deal. It happens all the that's how she's already gotten like 12 championships already, and she's only been on the main roster for that about maybe 10 years now,
Yeah.
trying to catch up to her daddy.
Oh,
On the main roster. I know she's in NXT for a couple of years, but on the main roster, she's only been on the main
daddy
roster.
issues.
Yeah, she's only been there for about 10 years at this point in time. But sure enough, she says, I hadn't done charity in a while, and she needs a moment. And Tiffany chimes right back up and fires back up at her and says, look, no matter what you do, no matter how many championships you win, you'll always come second to your daddy. Ooh, from the fans. They really got with Tiffany here. The fans, I think they got with Tiffany just to get at Charlotte Flair. I don't think they got at Tiffany because she was great here. But about that time, after she says that, Charlotte Flair starts to come back with she starts to come back with, oh, you're saying the same things, and boo, it starts. The avalanche of boos. And boy, I tell you, the boos got to Charlotte. I don't
yeah,
think
it
Charlotte
completely
ever
killed it.
been booed like this before.
Completely killed it. All she could do is smile. Be like, "What do you want me to say?"
It was so good. She says, Chicago, what do you want me to say? She's begging and pleading for them to shut up. And the second they would get a little quiet about it, she would start to speak. And they would raise it up even higher. And she was walking around doing her impression of what I think is a grin. I don't
She got
know.
about this much teeth out.
Yeah, and she was upset. She just kept trying to talk. You keep boo, and when I was boo, oh, and what do you want me to say? Boo. And during those boos, Tiffany would strike back up again. And she comes back at her, and she would take advantage of the moment to diss her some more. And Tiffany ends up burying this woman with the help of the fans because the fans can't stand her. Tiffany, she's gotten over. She needs some help on the mic and less makeup. But she's been getting over, and she's been the champion for a while now at this point in time. I forget when the heck she won the blessed belt, but she's been the champ for a while. She's done a good job with it, and Charlotte she just gives up on the whole deal. She says,
They
"You know
had to throw
what?
the script out 20 seconds into the promo. They just
Oh my gosh,
threw it.
I wonder how long this thing was actually supposed to go." But I have a feeling like somebody somewhere got in somebody's ear just saying, "Look and listen, just get the flip out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out." Tiffany somehow will take advantage of this deal, and sure enough, Charlotte Flair just looked at Tiffany and says, "You know what? I'll let you have the last word." That's when I knew she's pissed. She was so upset.
She's angry. Yeah, she was definitely angry.
This was so
She's
good.
like, I wasted my time to come out here. Why did I even come out here? I got to say like 8 words because the stupid crowd will shut up.
Oh my god. And honestly, dude, if they put the championship on Charlotte at Mania, that crowd is going to go berserk and not a good way.
Yeah,
They'll burn the ring down.
I think after tonight, even if it was WWE's plan to, snap that thing around her waist at the end of the night, I think they're probably going back to the drawing board and be like, guys, we got a problem.
I mean, think they had to do it
Nobody likes this
immediately.
lady.
Yeah, when she came back as a babyface. And she started to cut her first babyface promo being back, and the crowd crapped on it. And they switched her heel to where she is now because the fans can't stand her. And now this has gotten worse.
Yeah,
This ain't getting no better for old Flair here.
No, I don't know what to do with Charlotte Flair after the WrestleMania, to be honest.
You need to get her off television. Let them forget about her and then let her come back naturally, not coming back for a championship again. Because she comes back at the Royal Rumble to go win the Royal Rumble, and everybody knows the score here. You gotta zone her in and figure out something to do with her. And the last line from Tiffany was my favorite. She says, "At 25 years old, you were drinking in your dad's basement, and here I am at
Trying to
25."
be a
And
volleyball
me and
player.
old Tiffy girl, we're right about the same age. Happy birthday to her. But you were drinking in your dad's basement, and I'm main eventing WrestleMania, and she just gets the heck out of the ring and leaves.
Oh, you
I
forgot
loved every
about the
minute.
whole. Don't forget the whole 0-3. You're going to be alone at the end of the night in WrestleMania. You're going to be alone
Oh yeah.
inside the ring like you are outside the ring. She was like, "What's that? 0-3 now?" And then she just like I think like Charlotte took a step. She just like rolled out of the ring, and then
No,
like
Charlotte, right before then, Charlotte's like, "It's so screechy. Your voice is so screechy." I'm like, "Oh, this thing is disseminating," and she doesn't know what to do. She's so pissed. She
and
was
then
so mad. She started going elementary with it. Says, "Oh, your voice is so screechy." Yeah. Oh God.
and
Oh, it
Tiffany
was
hit her with
crazy.
like the 0-3 outside the ring, and I'm like, are they legitimately like, is she like dissing on her relationship life, like her
Yeah.
life outside the ring? And then Tiffany's walking out of the ring holding up the belt. She's like, "Oh, that's why Kaiser's in my DMs." And I'm like, and I said, dude, I'm sitting here thinking, I'm on the couch. I was like, this is a hot pot of boiling stew that nobody wants to eat. And, and I
Oh,
know
it
you're not
was
a big, you're not a big UFC fan, but that right there
God.
literally reminded me of Conor McGregor after Dustin Poirier. Well, Dustin Poirier beat him technically because Conor broke his leg and he's sitting up against the cage talking smack to Dustin after he just lost to Dustin. And he's like, "That's why your wife's in my DMs, bro." I'm like, come on, man. Y'all supposed to be professionals, and we're talking about who's in whose DMs. And if it's
Uh,
true, that's unfortunate. But whatever, it may be true. It may not be true. It might have just been a play to try to get over one last time since
it is.
it
Yeah.
seemed
I
Tiffany went a little personal with it as she was scampering away.
I think
It was just a mess.
I think
I did
Tiff
not enjoy it.
took it. I think Tiff took advantage of this moment and just went off, and she did an amazing job with that. Um, God, that was hilarious. I loved it so much. It was just it was an amazing segment just to sit there and watch, and just laugh at. It's what it was. The entire thing, which it was just hilarious, and it was so sad because it's like watching two young broads just going back and forth, trying to be petty with one another, and they're gonna do anything they can. And
You ever,
only thing they didn't say was, "Girl, you stank." That was the only thing they didn't say, and it was all but that. If I'm Ludwig Kaiser, though, I'm very happy coming home to old Tiffy time. I'd rather have some Tiffy time than some Charlotte time, to say the least. There, so uh, I don't know how they get down in Germany, but I think even through old Ludwig's old Kraut eyes, he's all right over there. So yeah, it was a mess. It was hilarious. I loved it, and that is what that's going to be.
that is a pot that boiled over and left a mess all over your stove. Is what that is. Jesus, Pete.
Alrighty. After uh almost 72 hours, actually a little over 72 hours now at this point in
Wardrobe.
time,
We just we quick change, like quick
we
change. The
changed
halftime show, quick change.
wardrobes, and we're 3 days later. We're here to finish out this card. And Saturday was a super busy day for us. I had to leave early and go knock some stuff out. But now we're back to finish out our SmackDown card, and we got Monday Night Raw to talk about as well later on at another point in time. And I believe we left off here with the tag match. The tag match to decide who was going to face the Street Profits for the tag team championships. And Alan, did you watch much of this match? Because I'm not gonna lie, I like the look of the tag titles. They look good. The Street Profits are a pretty good tag team. But outside of that, it's not hooking me. I'm not a big fan of tag team wrestling right now. Not good. No bueno.
Yeah, I did too. I caught the beginning. Then my kids started running haywire.
Gotta love that stuff. Gotta love that. I didn't
And
have
when
that
you,
issue. I turned off the television at that point in time. I was busy. But sure enough, there's a tag team that's going to be facing the Street Profits for the tag titles at WrestleMania. What's the name of them? What's their name? The
was it DIY? Did they pull it out?
yeah, I think so. I think
Or
it was a
was it
tag team.
they tagged each other a bunch?
They did that. I'm actually looking up the WrestleMania card right now. Tag match. Here we go.
So
Morgan.
they did some tagging, and they did some top turnbuckling, and then one of the tag members got real tired, and he was trying to make it to the corner, and they kept dragging him to the opposite corner, but somehow he got away and did this magnificent, like high flying jump where he was just able to jump high enough and reach out and smack his hand right before his opponent came and get him back. And then his partner came in and just wrecked shop, took care of the guy that was fighting. Then his partner felt some type of way and rushed into the ring without being tagged. He took care of him. He celebrated in the middle of the ring like he did something fantastic. And then they ended up losing at the end of it. So that sound about how the tag team matches go right now?
That is that in a nutshell. I have to say congratulations to you there. That was very well put together.
So
But and sure enough, they don't even list the tag
we
team
did,
championship
there's
match.
probably some like distraction techniques on the outside of the ring, blah, blah, blah. And then, out of nowhere, a finisher was performed and the 1, 2, 3 was counted.
All I know is somebody's going to be facing for the tag team championships, and quite frankly, I don't think they need to take the belts off of Street Profits. I think they've been doing a good job with those championships. I just
Yeah, I
wish
like
there
the
were
Street
more.
Profits.
Yeah, they're good.
The
They've been good
Street,
for a while. I
they're
just wish. Huh?
they got a mixture of the power wrestling and the high flying wrestling. Not everybody does the high flying wrestling well. I think they do the high flying well.
Yeah, Montez is a big time athlete, man. I got to give him credit for that. He does a good job.
Yeah, so they got a good mixture going on.
Yeah, they got something going on pretty good over there. But next up, we had Naomi and B-Fab in a match, and that one didn't go very long at all. Naomi coming out there in her new look. She's looking a little bit more menacing these days ever since she's sneak attacked old Jade here. And that was video. I don't know if you saw this. That was video of somebody, a fan that was sitting right behind the commentators where
Mhm.
the match was going on and Jade was sitting right there next to the timekeeper.
Mhm.
Great job in kayfabe. I got to give her credit. And just sitting there waiting for her cue to run in. I can't make this up. That's exactly what happened. And sure enough, Jade did make an appearance and she did start stomping the high fire out of Naomi there. And she got out the ring. Naomi fled like a dog with its tail tucked between its legs, and sure enough, we
Wrapped
got
in
ourselves a
caution tape.
WrestleMania. Huh?
Wrapped in caution tape.
Wrapped in caution tape. That's
Dude, that's been her outfit the past couple of days. Is like black with like caution tape
yeah,
logo all over.
yeah. I
Take caution is what she said.
that kind of stuff you find on the red carpet these days. So I can't even say anything about it. I guess.
I'm not
But sure enough, we
impressed.
got ourselves a match at WrestleMania. Naomi will take on Jade in a grudge match, and that's about all. Is Has this been built properly?
Well, it was interesting. You know, Naomi and Bianca, they were tag friends. Then apparently Liv and Raquel attacked Jade, who was friends with Bianca. And then, you know, Naomi blamed it on them. And then the chamber happened. And then, of course, you know, it seemed like Jade was out, you know, forever. And then when the chamber happened, she comes running in when it's Liv and Naomi to start the women's chamber. And, you know, Liv's having an absolute diuretic moment in the middle of the ring. Like, oh shoot, you I'm about to get my tail whooped. Jade comes in, runs at her, hooks a button left hook turn, and just plows into Naomi and just proceeds to slap her, hair pull her, slam her face in the door. And Bianca's like, oh my god! I thought it was hilarious. Like my family could not believe it. They're Bianca fans, and at the time they were Naomi fans too, I guess. And watching her get her head slammed in the door kind of made me chuckle. I enjoyed it.
It was very in detail, blow by blow there.
Yeah.
Um, eh,
Well, you asked me if it was written right, lit up right. I mean,
I I
it's a storyline. I don't know. It tells a
it
story.
but I don't feel like they've done a good job flushing out this story because, yeah, Jade and Bianca started tag teaming well over a year ago now, and things are all good and grand. Naomi didn't come back until the Rumble of what was it last year? I think it was last year. Naomi came back, and they all three tagged up for WrestleMania, and they've been buddy buddy ever since. Jade, who was out for a long period of time, they used it in storyline that she had gotten attacked, but I think she actually had gotten herself hurt and she was out nursing an injury. I don't
Mm.
know. I think that's why she was out for so long. And then obviously she comes back and that moment proceeds that you're talking about there. But I feel like ever since that moment, I feel like Jade's just kind of come in and just kicked the living fire out of Naomi, and that's just been about it. But each week it's been that. Outside of the one Academy Award winning Emmy moment there for Bianca and Naomi, who just shed a bucket of tears. I don't know if they cut some onions before they came out there or what, but by God, they were shedding tears left, right, and center, and it was hysterical.
Yeah,
Watching them. Oh my
powder.
God, you did it! I did it for you. I did it for the Rock. I did it for the people. Just a whole moment there with the two of them
Drop
and
the
then
big,
Jade.
drop the capital B word on them too.
Yeah, I feels like from there, and like Jade, who's I think has gotten a whole heck of a lot better in the ring. When she came into WWE, she was a mess coming out of AEW. Naomi, who had been away from WWE for a couple of years, coming back, I thought she's done, pretty decent. She's about in the same exact position that she had been in before she left to begin with. When she left with Sasha Banks back when the Evil Empire was still in play here with Vinny Rue, who's thankfully gone. But I'm really hoping in the next what week, 2 weeks now we got until
2 weeks.
Mania that they can actually add a little bit more spice to this here match and this rivalry because I don't know. We talk about the promos on the wrestling show, but maybe they need a promo or two. Maybe they need a time to sit there and talk and chat this thing out, kind of flush it out instead of just, hey, I just want to beat the fire out of you just because I want to beat the fire out of you.
Well, this seems more like a paint by numbers instead of a Picasso. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, by God, they need to paint some more numbers because this ain't going too well for them. I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Maybe it's just not my kind of thing. We'll find out. We'll see how it goes. It could end up being a blockbuster of a match. I'm hoping that it does end up turning out pretty good because I think if Jade does come out and she does well at Mania, then I think she will get pushed up into that upper echelon into
Yeah.
into contender status, which would be pretty good. She's a very physically intimidating type of human being once you look at
She
her.
is
And
very muscular. She is
oh
very
yeah,
muscular.
I think you get a match between her and Rhea. That would be money making right there. I think. I just
Those two women are very muscular, and they're huge for women.
oh yeah, they're big girls. But next up, Damian Priest package. We had Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre. These are two guys that Damian, he needs some more time to develop. I thought when he had the world championship earlier on in the year, earlier on last year, I guess I could say, when he cashed in at WrestleMania, won against Drew. Didn't know if Drew or Damian was quite ready. I think he did the best that he possibly could at that time, which was pretty decent, but not quite befitting of the world championship. Maybe he gets that pretty soon. Maybe gets another shot at it. But I think Drew and Damian, those two guys, they know how to they're doing a good job cutting promos back and forth with each other. The hatred, the intense little back and forth, the car brawl that we ended up seeing a week or two ago and on I think it was Raw or something. Um, all of that's been good stuff. I have enjoyed
Yeah.
that, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what Damian Priest and Drew McIntyre do here.
Did Drew McIntyre call Damian Priest a Timu version of the Undertaker?
Mm-hmm.
How you get a Timu version of the Undertaker?
Yeah, and
Oh boy.
that's not the first time he's done that. I think when Damian cashed in on him the night after Mania, he said, "I got beat by Bondage Undertaker or something like a knockoff Bondage Undertaker."
Yeah,
Yeah,
McIntyre was like champion for all what 5 minutes, 3 minutes,
yeah,
5
5 minutes.
minutes.
I think 42 seconds. As a matter
That's
of fact,
crazy.
was the actual time. I was there for that, and that was hilarious. And I did not expect that coming. And listen to that crowd was nuts that night. Um, yeah, I'm looking forward to that match. I think it's going to be a good match. But we got some bad news that come out in the next segment. Nick Aldis
Yeah.
was in the ring, and Nick Aldis kind of led in with a ominous introduction, if you will, talking about it's a blessing to be able to get into the ring each and every time that you're able to get in the ring, and you're not guaranteed, this spot, and you never know when it could be taken from you. And then out comes Kevin Owens, and Kevin comes
Yeah.
out there, different attitude this time. You could definitely tell something was a little bit off, and sure enough, gets in the ring and talks about how over the last, I think he said 4 months or so, he has been having
Or
some
months, yeah.
issues with his neck, and it requires surgery, which means that he will not be at WrestleMania. And you could definitely tell this was a real moment. It didn't take 2 seconds. I mean, you could see the difference in him. He started thanking everybody and thank you so much. I don't know when I'm going to be able to get back in front of you guys again. And just a surreal moment for Kevin. And I have questions on or any thoughts on that before we go forward with what happened next.
Man, I don't know. I hope like you don't want to believe he's actually hurt
Mm-hmm.
because like you want to see that match at Mania, him and Orton. You want to see it because of the animosity between those two.
It's been
And
built well.
yeah, and Randy's kind of older. So I mean,
Kevin
he's
is
not
too.
the
Kevin and Randy are right around the same age.
they're not exactly spry young chickens flying around the ring anymore. You got to help each other out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
You so you wonder who's going to fill that role for Randy in Mania if Randy even has a match in Mania. And then, but on the other flip side of the coin, could this just be a play, a play? He's just saying, "Hey, I'm out." Then somehow they write him back in right before Mania, or at Mania he gets written back in, and Randy's out there talking, and KO comes out, and they ring the bell, and they go at it unexpectedly.
I don't see that happening
I
at
mean,
all.
I'm not
Okay,
saying I see it that way.
yeah, I think the best, wishful thinking is that it was storyline, but Kevin Owens evidently he just did an interview with somebody. I forget exactly who the heck it was, but he was pissed because it leaked. Somebody leaked it that he was hurt and that he was going to be making an announcement the day of the show, and he got really pissed off about it because he didn't feel like he got to do that moment in the moment, and he's really mad about it. But evidently something happened 4 months ago. It was evidently not the match against Cody Rhodes that happened at was it when was that?
Rumble. On that
Rumble.
Rumble.
There you go. Yeah. It was not that match. That definitely didn't help. I'm sure what happened with Sammy, I'm sure didn't help. I think it was one of those things that happened
Sammy
over time.
didn't help. Cody's match definitely didn't. But man, here's one. There was a fan when Kevin was walking out.
Yeah.
He must have
Complete
said
dickhead.
something. He had to say something to Kevin that
He looked
really
at
rubbed
him.
him the wrong way, because Kevin took like 8 steps and leaned over the rail to be like, "Listen here, motherfucker."
Yeah, he
And
did.
the
As a
camera
matter of
panned
fact,
away.
there was. I don't know if you saw this yet, but there was camera footage. One of the fans in the crowd that was standing next to the guy, or 2 guys over, happened to be recording as Kevin was walking out and caught the whole moment on tape. And evidently, this guy, and you can kind of hear him. He looks at him, and this is his words. He looks at Kevin real loudly as Kevin's walking by, and he says, "Yeah, but you're still shit." And in that moment, Kevin's high on emotion. He's
Oh yeah,
pissed. He's upset that
he's
Mania
missing
comes
Mania.
once a year. Yeah, Mania comes once a year, and Kevin's also older. Randy Orton just turned 45 the other day, and
Mm-hmm.
Kevin's right there with him. He's been doing it for 20 years too. And most of the time on the Indies, he didn't get into WWE until about just over 12 years ago, I think it was now. Him and Sami Zayn both, but Kevin, high on emotion, heard that, turned around, and he walked over because he didn't know exactly who said it. He knew the direction it came from. He walked over and said, "Who said that?" And the guy stepped up, and Kevin got right in his face.
That's a wild thing to do.
Yeah, and he and,
Like,
and Kevin listened to him, and he was like, "Oh yeah." He says, "You could tell Kevin wanted to knock the pit." And I'm surprised no security stepped up where they were. It was just him and that guy. Things could have honestly went really bad right there.
hey,
But
well, here, let me spin this to you. So that it's professional wrestling, people. These people are professionals at what they do. Is it 100% real? Nope. Is it 100% fake? No. And this is probably one of the, maybe baseball, because baseball you can be right up against the field, like right up against the field, and you can yell at the players. The NBA, of course, you're right on the court. But this just feels different. Like, you can get up close and personal to these superstars, and well, I mean, you've been to live tapings.
mhm.
It's quiet in there. Like, the crowd's going, but when there's nothing going, and the music's kind of going, you can yell and say stuff during a match, and the people and the athletes in the ring can hear you. And those sometimes, like when I was at the last Raw show, there was this guy. He was yelling at who was he yelling at? The American Made gal that was wrestling.
Oh yeah.
And she flat out looked at him and gave him like the go to, like, keep running your mouth. I'm gonna come out of this ring and pop you.
Mhm.
And
And
I
you
don't know if
see
you know,
that. You see
and I
that with
don't know,
people.
I don't know if you noticed overseas, there was security in between the people and the railing when it came to
Mhm.
in between the walkout ramp. That's not a thing That's not a thing in the United States. I noticed when
Used to be.
Randy was walking to the ring, and the entire European crowd's going absolutely crazy. On both sides of the barrier, there was a security guard not walking this way, but walking if this is the wall, he's not walking this way, he's walking this way.
Yeah.
And he's lockstep with Randy so people can't grab a hold of him and all that good jazz. So I don't I just think it's a
That's a good
matter of time.
flashback to the old days. That see, think about it. When you're going overseas to places that don't get this everywhere, don't they the United States has a wrestling show 2 times a week somewhere in the United States. They get to see this. I think they come to Charlotte maybe 3 or 4 times in the calendar year. 3 or 4 times. Live tapings, and then you have house shows that come on around as well. Overseas doesn't get that. So back in the day, we're talking back territory days. Guys could come when people came to the wrestling shows back in those days. They cared. The old grandmas, the people that have been coming to the wrestling matches for 50 years. They cared about. This is back when kayfabe was a legitimate thing. That's when people cared about the business, not just as we see now. You go out there and you cut an angle, then you go to a press conference, talk about how great your angle was. That's not what that used to be. This is a whole brand new. They kind of crap on the business. They go back behind the scenes. It's cool seeing that stuff. Don't get me wrong, but it kills the business. It really does. And one person that points this out a lot, and I think talks about it perfectly, is Jim Cornette. And I've learned a lot through him. A lot of people don't like him. You maybe listen to this now and don't like me for saying that. I don't really care. Piss off. But
Piss
you can
off.
see, yeah, seriously. But seeing the care and the passion, yeah, they watch it on TV just like we do, so they know what's going on with everything. They know what the business is and what it isn't. But people care, man. People care. They want to be a part. They care about their characters, their people, and some of these people will go flipping nuts. I mean, there are stories that happened in the territory days that I didn't get to live through, unfortunately, but I hear about that are just mind-boggling to me. And they're super cool how people that guys could be going to amusement parks and somebody see him and like, I'm gonna kick you, I'm gonna beat you up for what you did to Ric Flair or Ricky Steamboat or whatever the case may be. Back when people cared. You see that overseas. You don't get to see that as much over here anymore because it is so mainstream and they get to see what the business has become. But I think what we saw overseas is it's a spectacle. People love it, and it's kind of a look through a portal of time and see what the old days used to look like, in a sense.
Yeah, but can we cut the singing out? Oh my gosh.
Hey, you know what? It did get on my nerves.
Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes, Roman.
And here, the thing about it is the American crowds are starting to pick up because see, the
Yes, they
American
did.
crowds, they're getting angry because they got showed up. Every time the WWE goes overseas, America gets showed up. So whatever happens over there, think about it. The first what was the first, like Bologna or something like that was like the
Bologna.
first place that they went.
Mhm.
They got it started
Yeah,
and
singing.
it just carried because everybody's like, well, they did it, so now we got to do it. And that's kind of covering it. Now that we've gotten back to America, we're starting to, we're doing it a little bit, but it's starting to die down a little bit as time goes on. But and it'll get back to
To me,
normal.
it killed the angles, it killed the promos. Like they're trying to talk,
Mhm.
and all they're doing, they just start singing. Like, shut up, let them talk.
Yeah,
Now,
there was a
outside of
time and
the
place for them to
Charlotte and
sing.
Tiffany promo where Charlotte couldn't get in a word. Oh, that was
By the
great.
way,
There was no singing in there, brother.
since we are talking a couple days afterwards, evidently a lot of stuff went down behind the scenes. There's a lot of heat between Tiffany and Charlotte, real life behind the scenes, and a lot of that promo was 100% off the cuff, and WWE has deleted some of it.
Unscripted.
It was very much unscripted and did
Dude,
not go over well in the back.
did you see where Ric Flair was like, I don't approve of what Tiffany said. Like Ric Flair's butthurt about what Tiffany said.
Mr. Woo Energy and Wooings, as he likes to call him over there. He just needs to go over there and chill out, hang out, drink his mushroom elixir that he has there of an energy drink that has like 50 different danger labels on the side of the can. That's neither here nor there. And
Danger.
keep getting heat with pizza owners and just chill out. Just
Yeah.
sit over there and do your thing, Rick. You're not, don't, you just need to go on somewhere, brother. But yeah, so Kevin Owens comes out there, talks about that, and as he starts to leave, I hear voices in my head. They did the thing, and they talked to him,
Talk to
and
me. They understand.
they talk to me, or they counsel me. I have no
They
idea. I
counsel
forget the
me.
word.
Yeah. Yeah.
Randy Orton comes out this time, not in his wrestling gear. Now,
Oh, I think he could have threw down in that gear though.
oh yeah. Randy, and he did. Randy
Sure
Orton
did.
comes out in his t-shirt and his joggers, and typically Randy Orton is always a guy you're going to see in his wrestling attire. He is old-fashioned Rip Rogers with that, as you look like a star. No matter what happens, you're going to look like a star no matter what. You're going to go out there and you're going to dress to impress, and that's what you do. And very rare do you see Randy in that kind of gear, but he came out here in this moment. And one thing that I will say that I really liked, you could see confliction within Randy's face. Behind the scenes, I'm sure well and good that Randy is, there for his friend, because him and Kevin have become friends. But Orton still enjoys the business.
Mm-hmm.
Orton's
Mm-hmm.
old school. Same thing with Cena. Guess who hasn't talked about that? Their storyline, like when Dwayne Johnson, that dude gets on my nerves. When The Rock comes back after Cena turns heel, and Dwayne's like, "It's a great thing. We really planned this whole thing. It's amazing. It's awesome what we're getting ready to do. We get to do cinema in the ring." Just crapping on the entire bit, right?
Yeah.
Cena comes out, drops the mic, and he gets out of there. He's adding fuel to that fire. He's trying to keep kayfabe, right? That's the whole ordeal. Well, Randy Orton is conflicted because he knows that, number one, Kevin Owens is hurt. He can't have his match. And did you notice that him and Kevin didn't go up, and in a moment like that probably would embrace, in a real moment, would embrace, would hug, be like, "Hey, I got you." Orton kept his distance from Kevin. Kevin kept his distance from Orton. And there was confliction in the mind, as in, I was that close to getting my hands on you, but now I can't. And it's like it hurt him.
Yeah, there
And
was
I
an
like
internal
that.
struggle there.
Right. And when Orton got up on the ring apron with Kevin, Kevin
Kevin's
walked off.
no, Kevin didn't walk off. He scurried off of the ring. Scurried.
And it kind of left you in that moment of, hmm. And then when Kevin left, you kind of figured it out. Okay, this is for real. And then Nick Aldis comes over to Randy, and Randy is conflicted. You can see his face, as in, oh my, I mean, I can't get this match now. And Randy last week had cut an amazing promo. You want to talk about a guy putting over a match? Randy Orton did it behind the scenes. Oh my
Yeah,
God,
he did.
it was picture perfect.
Said he
He
was going to
sold the
punt that
match.
dude.
Yes. And then Nick Aldis comes up to him. Randy, I'm sorry, but you don't have a match at WrestleMania anymore. And Orton puts his hands on his knees and he bends over. And then out of nowhere, he just drops Nick Aldis with an RKO and gets out of the ring. And that's it.
That's
What's
it.
to become of Randy Orton?
That's a good question. I don't know. I don't think anybody knows at this point. It's all up in the air.
I got no clue. And quite frankly, it's like, dadgum, if Cena wasn't involved with Rhodes, it would be perfect. But
Yeah.
with everybody else, I don't know who could be open for Randy. I mean, you've got
I mean, what
Rollins
high
and
level
Punk
talent?
and
What high
Reigns
level
taking on.
talent you got for Randy?
Right,
You can't have him wrestle Carmelo Hayes at WrestleMania.
right. You I don't know. You got LA Knight with Fatu. You've got Cena and Rhodes. You've got the triple threat. You got Priest and McIntyre. Nobody else. You don't have a Bobby Lashley or a an Edge or something. AJ Styles is back and forth with Braun and that whole ordeal with the fatal four way for the match.
Oh,
Um,
AJ Styles has Logan Paul at WrestleMania.
Yeah, that's right. AJ Styles as Logan Paul. Then you got the fatal four way for the Intercontinental title with Braun and everything. And he's a young and up and comer. I don't know who in the world you could pair with him right now
Him and
that
The Rock.
makes it. That would actually be really cool. Rock would find a way to go over in that match too. I bet you.
Or let him and Triple H go at it one last time.
They can't.
Be so good though.
Triple H unfortunately can no longer wrestle.
Yeah.
With that pacemaker, but that would be really cool.
Oh man, that'd be. They just like
There's
some light touching, some light sparring.
technically Randy Orton was Triple H's last opponent. Technically, um,
Just as hear that music drop for Triple H one time, and well, he don't have the hair to sling back and. Dude,
yeah.
that dude was jacked.
Oh yeah, he was on a lot. I tell you that much. But one person that kind of floated through my mind, and you'd have to announce it like today. One person is supposed to have a farewell match this year.
Mm,
Do you know who I'm talking about?
Goldberg.
Bill Goldberg. Randy and Goldberg go back. They've been in the ring with each other. They understand each other. Randy would take care of Bill. I don't know if Bill would take care of Randy. Not because of there's heat between the two, because just Bill has had some issues with that as of late over his last couple matches. But he is a guy that is supposed to have one last match. Could you
And we
have it at
haven't heard
Mania?
anything about it.
Haven't heard anything about it yet. I think it's supposed to happen sometime in the summertime. I really don't know. But that's only one person that I could think of that would be you put Goldberg versus Randy Orton. Hey, that would be a good one. And you could say, you went out against a big time guy. There's nobody really to debut. There's no like new signees or anything.
Grande
I don't know.
Americana.
He's
Chad
he's
Gable.
battling somebody at WrestleMania. I think it's Rey Mysterio. I think it's him and Rey Mysterio at
Well, it
Mania.
is. It is, but we haven't covered that episode yet, so I wasn't going to go there. You know.
Oh. So I don't know. I really don't know. There's no
So
guys on the NXT roster I'm looking at like, oh heck yeah. Does Orton get his hands on Joe Hendry at TNA? I don't know at this point in time. Yeah, I don't. I don't know. I'll be curious to see. We're gonna have to find out pretty quick though, because there's 2 weeks to Mania. You got 2 Smackdowns left.
will they have a SmackDown the Friday before Mania?
Mhm. Yeah, because they'll have SmackDown and then they'll have the Hall of Fame after, and then because it'll be in the city, it'll be in Vegas. They'll be in Vegas for that.
Yeah.
They'll do
And
the they'll do
people
the
hearing this might be like, "Well, does this guy what? Does this guy even know wrestling?" No, not really. I used to watch it a long time ago. I quit watching it a long time ago, and then my 6-year-old got into it over the past 6
year.
months. Well, okay, so we entered back into the WWE universe when you went to WrestleMania. You gave me your Peacock login. We watched it, and I was like, "Hey, Nathan's here." I was like, "Your uncle, went to watch this." And Logan Paul had his match, and I sent you videos of it. He was like crying, freaking out. And we watched it a little bit after that, but then we quit watching it. Well, then probably about 4 or 5 months ago, he's like head over heels for wrestling. So we're all into this wrestling thing, and kind of rolled into this brand new podcast. So I don't know. I don't have a clue whether they have a SmackDown 24 hours
Yeah.
before WrestleMania night one.
Yeah, they'll definitely do it. SmackDown or SmackDown, but WrestleMania being 2 nights obviously started back when when the COVID hit. They did 2 nights then because social distancing, couldn't have a ton of people in the same building, all that good jazz. And they've just kept it ever since, and they sell out both nights. I mean, it's or just about
Of
sell out both
course,
nights. It's
they're
ridiculous,
not
and
going to not sell. I
figured out
mean,
the they figured out the money ploy, and it keeps the pay-per-view shorter, so you're not sitting watching WrestleMania for literally like 6-7 hours, which is pretty cool. I'm looking forward to seeing what happens at Mania. I like the graphics card. They have started working on the set, and
I did see that.
people posting pictures out. We don't know exactly what it looks like yet. I'll be very excited to see how they do this year's. But hey, we got 2 more things to get into.
Let's get it.
Fatu and Braun Strowman had a last man standing match. I didn't watch much of it. I'm not a Braun Strowman fan. I have never been a Braun Strowman fan. Fatu is interesting to me. I like Fatu a lot. I think he's got the ability, but I think
Yeah.
he kind of needs to get away from Solo Sikoa. I think he needs to break out on his own. That's just me. But Fatu looked great in the match from what I saw, and he came out the victor.
Yeah, those are two tough sons of guns. I think they said during the match, Braun Strowman had never lost a last man standing match. And then, Fatu, he's known for, you know, being able to get his shoulders off the canvas at the 2 count, no matter how much damage he's taken throughout the match. So entering this match, man, it was like, man, who's going to crack under the pressure first? And I thought they did a good job with it. They didn't give Braun Strowman the disservice of like Fatu just absolutely running through him. And then, Strowman just like laying there like out. No, that's not
Right.
how it went. Like they both like had to fight the 10 count. Both of them got up at 9 at one point. And then right there at the end, uh Brian was like hanging on like the middle rope, trying to stand up at like 9. And then right there at 10, when he was grabbing the top rope, it was like a mildly quick 10, and ding, 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 the bell was going off. So I thought they did him justice. They didn't just let Fatu come run through him like he was a nobody. It was
Right.
a decent match. It was a bunch of, fighting in the crowd, going through tables. It was a good one. I enjoyed it. I kind of figured Fatu was going to win it. I thought it made more sense, but yeah, I thought it
Especially
was a good
getting ready
match.
for the United States Championship match against LA Knight,
Yeah,
which honestly wouldn't surprise me if Fatu walks out with that championship. I think they're starting
yeah. I
really
think he's
push
going to
him
win
as a
it.
big star.
I think, me personally, I think he beats LA Knight. I think
Yeah,
they've set it up. I think they
and
set
I
it up
like
that
LA
way.
Knight a lot. I think he's a good. I think he's really good, and I like where LA Knight is. I would like to see him in a more prominent role. Maybe that comes at one point in time in the future. We will see. But it was a good match. But everything led up to the final encounter. We've been talking about it all night. What is going to happen? What is the favor that Paul Heyman owes CM Punk? And sure enough, Paul Heyman's out there by the garage once again, but this time Roman Reigns actually shows up. Not Seth Rollins, but Roman
Yes, my
Reigns
tribal
shows up.
chief.
And Roman gets out. Oh, my tribal chief, you've made it. Oh, thank you. And Roman bypasses him and walks straight to the ring. No
Doesn't
pyro, no
say a word.
nothing. Gets straight to that ring, gets in there, is acknowledged, and then says, CM Punk, What is this favor all about? What is this thing? What do you want? And Seth Rollins music hits.
You knew like I was sitting there watching. I was like, CM Punk's not coming out to this. If anybody's coming out, Seth Rollins is coming out right here. And
Yep.
about that time,
and Seth Rollins basically brought his iced tea in his long chair, and he just sit down
and laughed. Oh man, he laughed.
Oh yeah, he come out there and he's like, "Hey, look, I just want to know what's going on here because I know it affects you and it'll somewhat affect me, but I got a feeling it's going to really affect you, and I'm gonna laugh about it." And CM Punk comes out there and he gets face to face with good old Romy Boy, and he says, "Hey, look, I came back, I helped you at War Games, and I asked for a favor. And that one favor is my best friend, my guy that I've been down the road with. We went to ECW. We were at ECW together. He was my running mate back in 2000. I think it was 12.
Yeah.
He was my friend. He was my guy. I'm here because at WrestleMania, your wise man, my best friend, is going to be in my corner, Paul Heyman." And Roman looks around and he's like, "Yep."
He
That's your
loves
favor?
me.
That's your favor? You
Even if I
realize he
told him he
loves
could.
me, right? You
He
realize this
wouldn't.
wise man. Let him down easy. Let him down. And you could see the confidence and the arrogance oozing out of Roman Reigns. He thinks this is all big one joke, and CM Punk's just kind of standing there. Roman Reigns, Seth
Big
Rollins is
shiny teeth.
cackling in the back there, and Paul Heyman starts looking down, and Roman looks at him again. "Hey,
Are you crying?
are you crying right now? Tell this man, let him down." And more time passes, and Punk is standing there, and Seth is cackling still. And Roman looks back at him again. He says, "You got one more time to tell this man, no, I brought you out of obscurity. I brought you in. I made you who you are. You are the wise man. You love me. You answer to me. Tell him no." And Paul gets the microphone and he brings it close to his mouth. And he starts shaking his says, "And no, I can't do that, my tribal chief." Oh, and the place goes bad. And Punk is standing there with a smile on his face. And good old Rollins is still a cackling.
Dude, he was laughing hard.
And sure enough, Punk gets a hold of old Roman and gave him a GTS. And Roman sold it like
his hair went flying.
He laid in a twisted pretzel form. He was out, and Punk or Rollins just stood there.
It was good. Paul was like having a fit, like, no.
Like, I love you, my tribal chief, but I love you, my best friend. Oh, it's a good stuff. And it was all flushed out on Monday, and we'll get to that review. But that was SmackDown. What did you think?
Curtains, baby. Okay, so I guess I'll ask this question. Why is it important that Paul Heyman is CM Punk's corner man? Why is it so important? Because I thought me personally, not knowing what a corner man is good for, I thought it was a dumb favor.
Well, you need to know Punk and Paul Heyman's backstory.
I mean, I understand. Like, I get that. I've looked into it a teensy bit. Like, they're friends, and he's been there, and he told him a long time ago, like, if you're a main eventer, I'll be your corner man.
Right.
And that's fine. But why is it so important that CM Punk takes him from Roman.
Go back to Roman's induction speech for Paul Heyman last year at the Hall of Fame. Roman said when you see Roman Reigns, when the wise man is no longer with the tribal chief, you'll no longer see the tribal chief.
And that might be why CM Punk did it.
And I think it does play a good part because Paul Heyman has been so loyal to Roman Reigns, and even so loyal to a fact that he wouldn't even turn on Roman when Brock came back a couple of years ago. And Brock and Roman were going at it for the first time, since Paul had switched, because Paul was also with Brock Lesnar for a ton of years before he left WWE back in 2004. And once he came back in 2012, Paul Heyman was right there with him. And they did all those shows together up until 2020 or the year 2020, when Paul Heyman, after Brock left, Paul Heyman came and sided with Roman Reigns, and then sure enough, they've been together ever since. They've done great together. I think it's just a big thing for CM Punk to have his guy. Because being a main eventer is something that CM Punk definitely wanted to do, and that is a legit thing. And now he gets the opportunity to finally do that.
100%.
And so with that, that gets to happen. You can use it in storyline where this will be the first time that we've saw Paul Heyman not with the tribal chief in 5 years. Because Paul has been loyal, as Seth Rollins pointed out in his promo on Monday, which we'll get to that show. But
yeah, we got a lot of shaking to do.
Yeah, there's a lot there to that. So
panning for gold.
I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was good.
I enjoyed the segment.
The segment was great, and Paul Heyman's got a lot to talk about in the very near future. But I enjoyed the show. I thought it was, and for the most part, a couple of matches I didn't really care for as much, but for the most part, I thought it was a decent show. And I'll be curious to see what comes out of everything. Next week, or technically this week.
Yeah, I mean, as we sit recording this right now, there's three live shows left: a SmackDown, a Raw, and a SmackDown.
That's it.
As we sit here today, coming at you live in color.
Yeah. And I'll be curious to see what happens. I'll be excited to get into Monday Night Raw. And that was it.
I'm not going to lie. I think Raw's right now is probably, if it wasn't for Randy Orton, I think if Randy Orton went on SmackDown, then, I don't know how much of SmackDown I'd actually watch.
Yeah, SmackDown being a 3-hour show is painful. I'm not gonna lie, it's extremely painful. I can't stand it being a 3-hour show. Hate it.
Okay, I mean, just for example, this is my notes for SmackDown. See that? Half page. Okay. This is my notes for Raw Monday. almost the whole page. There's just not a lot to say. There's more like kerfuddle on SmackDown. There's more kerfuddle on SmackDown, and there's more substance in Raw.
Yeah, and a lot of it's just it's filler. They got to find out something to fill that time with until eventually they can get to a point where they're not on time limit, and they have to be on for 3 hours. And whenever that comes, I don't know when the rights fees for SmackDown comes up, but I'm sure Netflix will probably grab a hold of that one, and they'll be able to cut down their time and do whatever they want to do there. And there you go.
Yeah, I mean, make it condense it something. 3 hours is a long time to commit to a TV.
Yeah, especially like wrestling, there's times and moments when you can get away with a 3-hour show every once in a while, but consistently 3 hours is a lot of time. And when, don't get me wrong, WWE has talent, but 3 hours is still an extremely long amount of time to fill with substance
Yeah, I agree.
without having a ton of promos and interviews and long-winded dialogue. You got to have that in order to help yourself. And
Or
WWE has a
long
lot of that.
matches
And
that aren't interesting.
yeah, and yeah, it's just not a good time. So, be excited to see what happens next Friday or this Friday, technically by the time we're recording this, and
Yeah,
a lot of cool stuff going on in the future. But we're gonna get out of here. We want to thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for tuning in with us with Smackdown. We'll see what happens next week. We'll be able to see what happens on Monday Night Raw as well. Looks like it was
on the
previous
road to
show.
WrestleMania.
On the road to WrestleMania. We're 2 weeks out, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens to Mania. Sad I'm not going to be there this year. After being there last year, that was a
Oh, we're going
fun.
to try to be there next year.
We are definitely going to try to be there for next year. I am extremely excited. For Mania, I wasn't. I'm yawning. I wasn't excited originally for Mania, but they've done a good job over the last 2 weeks of getting me excited for this. And
They're definitely tightening things up.
yeah, they are. And, and a lot of that helps. It helps when, first off, Mania is normally already done by now.
Yeah.
And you don't have such a long period in between Elimination Chamber or No Way Out or whatever to Mania. There's a lot of time to just kind of, there's been a lot of time this year just to kind of, you got to fill in time.
Yeah.
So, good. It'll be good to have Mania out of the way, and you can get to Backlash and everything else. And then maybe hopefully next year they will get back on track before everything. So, yeah, looking forward to it though. Anyway, let's get out of here. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for being here. And we'll see you all next time.